Before we go, we want to say thank you to Daphna Ziman. Daphna is the president and co-chairman of CINEMOI. They are doing amazing things in content distribution and reinventing the way media has to be shared with the public. She's a very responsible businesswoman in Los Angeles, and she's called the Queen of Hollywood. She has such a big heart. She was kind enough to bring to us today amazing guest Radha, the stars that you guys all know from Man on Fire with Denzel Washington, Assaf, who's an executive producer for the Golden Globes, Emmys, and Oscar, and the amazing Evan Hainey, who is the manager of a lot of celebrities and also a partner at Untitled. So we're going to welcome Daphna. Before that, we're going to watch a quick video of CINEMOI, and we're going to have her here. She's going to welcome the guests, and they're going to give us a blast for the next 15 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everybody around the globe. I am Daphna Edward Ziman. Thank you so much, Val. It's wonderful.
Thank you to you. The Queen of Hollywood is in the house. Hello. What an introduction. Your video, it's upbeat. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's actually really interesting. I've been listening to everybody for hours now. Talking about the future. And, the media and entertainment industry is really at the lead of so much of the technology that's about to come out or coming out or has come out. CINEMOI was launched with the idea that there was going to be a need to address the multi-choice population and deliver multi-choice television network. But we knew that it was never going to be enough because the entertainment industry always has to be on the cusp of what the future holds. And so we knew that we were going to have to release a digital platform, and which is a virtual parallel world. And you saw it in the video where you can actually see movies in the Lionsgate Theater. Like, we're going to launch it with a major premiere, and people from all over the country we're expecting could be as many as 100 million to 200 million people will come to that premiere, and that will replace the theaters of today. The same with Broadway, the same with museums, and all the culture and virtual tourism that is now going to be a part of our reality as we move from the physical world into the virtual world. And with that comes a huge responsibility. And as we are here, we are actually the gatekeepers. And with that, we have a fiduciary responsibility to the viewers and to the multiple cultures and diversity of cultures around the world. We're 7 billion people on this planet, and it's one planet, and we all live together. And it's time to stop thinking in terms of borders, but to think of us as one people and one world. And that is why we created CINEMOI World. But we're trying something really unique. We're doing the first premiere of a movie virtually on CINEMOI on June 14th. And Hilary Swank and I are going to be hosting it. And it's called Woman. And instead of it just being about with big celebrities, it's actually about the unsung hero women that have emerged during this period. And it's going to be, there's going to be a virtual red carpet which is going to include Shaka Khan, Macy Gray, Hillary Clinton, many of our women leaders around the world. And this is something that is going to be a first of its kind, leading the path of the entertainment industry into a different kind of a world, a digital world, a media world that is going to lead our global culture into a new phase. So today, I wanted to bring, or to this evening, wherever you are, I wanted to bring some of our leaders in our industry from different points of view to join me and discuss what is the future of the entertainment industry from this moment on, and the impact that it's had, both positive and negative, through this coronavirus, and the reality that soon faced us, that we have to take huge steps forward. So I have with me tonight Assaf Blecher, who, as you said before, is a major executive producer of some of the biggest live events in the world. I also have Hainey, who's one of the partners of Untitled, which is one of the biggest artist management, both musicians and actors and producers and directors in the world. And I have my favorite movie star, Radha Mitchell, who has not only done Men on Fire, but starred in Woody Allen's movie Melinda and Melinda, and so much more. And actually, she has a major movie that just was released virtually, Dreamcatcher. So with that, let me introduce you to my first guest, which is Assaf Blecher. Ah, there you
Hello.
are! And thank you for waiting and waiting and waiting.
Hi, Daphna. Hi, everyone. Excited to be part of it.
Thank you for coming
Thank
on.
you. I'm so happy to see you and the grown beard that you now have.
Everybody has a beard and long hair. You like
so,
it?
Assaf, you
Yeah.
have been instrumental in taking some of our award shows and the biggest entertainment shows in the world to a whole new level. And you have set the mark in terms of where the industry was going with live performances. In fact, you executive produced our show, the Cine Fashion Film Awards, and brought us into this huge success. Tell me where you see it all going now.
I think the future that we're talking about all the time is actually the present already. We're living in it. We all understand where it's going and what's happening. We know that big gatherings not going to happen anytime soon. Award shows like Daphna and I used to produce in the past not going to happen at the same time, at the same structure and the same way. We cannot have thousands of people sitting together. We cannot have crews of hundreds of people, and it's actually it's very exciting for me as a creative director, as an executive producer. This is a very, very exciting time. It's time to think outside the box. You know, there is a way that we know how to produce shows and award shows, and this actually put a stop to old ways of producing and doing things. And now it's time to think how we do it differently. And we already see it on TV. We see award shows going online, and we see live events being broadcast from celebrities' homes and houses, and they're performing from their home. They don't need a lot of makeup, and they don't need 30 people around them in order to perform and showcase their art and music. And it's actually exciting. It gives the viewers a different perspective of the big stars. They can do it from home. They can do it while we're seeing their dogs running around and while they're seeing the kids around them. And actually, you know, I'm excited for the next Cine Fashion Award, Daphna, on CINEMOI, because we're going to do it a little different. We'll have to think outside the box. We will have to think how to bring the big stars to the show without maybe actually attending the show live but in a virtual way. And this is when every time I'm watching I'm watching Cinema World. It's exciting. This is the future, actually. I think, Daphna, I don't know if you predicted this this virus, but what you
No,
created.
I assure you, I didn't predict the
I don't know,
virus, but
maybe
I
you knew
did.
something.
I did predict that there's going to be a need to create a parallel world, because the reality is that everything was becoming individualized, and it was all about the individual's choice. And we needed to bring home entertainment to people who are living through their couch, actually. We needed to make it experiential. We needed to make sure that we don't forget that the two-dimensional world is so limiting for people, and we are a guest in their home. So there's a responsibility to expand that world. And that was one of the things that we aimed for. And the timing of what has happened was actually not even on my radar screen, but it's happened. And now everybody from Disney and everybody is interested in Cinema World, because we are offering something and because we own the patent, something that no one else has. But thank you, Assaf. This was amazing to start thinking differently and what you were saying. And you're right, we have to approach the Cine Fashion Film Awards in a different way. And on June 14th, when we are doing this huge global premiere of this new movie called Woman, we're actually going to have these major people, major icons on a virtual red carpet. And it's a first of its kind, and it's going to be open to the public. So it's a first of its kind in many ways, because it allows us to think locally and act globally. And that's the most important responsibility that we have as leaders in the media. But I wanted to now turn to Evan Hainey, because he has the responsibility of making sure that his artists are occupied permanently and well. So how does this affect you? I know that you gave up your office. You're now all working virtually.
We are all working virtually. And actually, the working virtually part has been, in some ways, more efficient. We can connect with more people. We've been having Zoom meetings, and really, instead of trying to, if anyone knows the Los Angeles traffic, drive from Burbank to the West Side, we can just have a meeting very quickly. So that's been a blessing. And I think the other thing that I'll just add is that there obviously have been months now of people devouring all the content that was readily available, and there's a real need for new content. So that's an opportunity that's exciting, and it's just a question of figuring out how to creatively make it safely and get it to people. But I think that certainly there's going to be, over the next 6 months and year, we're going to find new ways of creating and delivering content.
Thank you so much, Evan. It's really true, and it's wonderful to know that management is actually involved now in thinking about careers from a different point of view. As far as CINEMOI is concerned, our audience has increased now by almost 2,000% since the coronavirus has started, which shows you that people are hungry for content, badly hungry. And because we don't show the same blockbusters every other channel does, and we are the only high fashion network, people are gravitating. And it's so interesting because we just did the first global bridal fashion week in the world virtually. And the amount of viewers was astounding. We could not believe it. And so it seems like that fashion industry is going to change too, because instead of doing the fashion weeks for a few hundred of the 1% people, we are now going to be doing fashion weeks online virtually and allowing everybody to be a participant. So I think that's going to make fashion much more accessible also. But actors become much more accessible. I did an interview. We have several movies that Radha Mitchell has starred in on CINEMOI, and she's become one of our most popular stars on our channel. We have a movie that she did with Antonio Banderas and Morgan Freeman. We have another one with Gary Oldman and a major amount of stars called Nobody's Baby. And people are loving her. And I did an interview with her that when people just kept tuning into, and they're discovering over and over again people that they really are fans of. So it makes movie stars more accessible to the viewers also. And with that, let me introduce you to Radha Mitchell. And Radha, could you please tell us, from an actor's point of view, what's the reality, both present and future?
So from an actor's perspective, I can just speak to the moment that we're in. And as Daphna said, I did have a movie that had a digital release a couple of weeks ago, a movie called Dreamcatcher, which was actually a smaller movie in the sort of horror film genre, which was perfect and sort of strangely timed already to release on these platforms before, obviously, we found ourselves in this COVID situation. And that was a sort of a surprise and an opportunity to innovate for the producers of how we're going to promote it. And there was like an online Zoom group where we engaged with the various different, fans of the genre and people that wanted to sort of participate in the launch of the film. So that was very intimate, and everybody got to speak with the filmmakers. These are the fans of the film. So that was cool. And then right now, a friend of mine, a director, is currently writing a script, and she's trying to innovate so that we can actually shoot this movie in our living rooms. And how that turns out, we'll see. But she's got some quite interesting actors sort of on board, and we're going to be meeting online, I guess, in the next week or two to sort of discuss the script and figure out how we're going to shoot this with the constraints. And I think, we're even going to experiment with shooting something on the iPhone. So that's all very innovative. I don't think that's going to be the kind of content that people are going to want to see a lot of in the future in terms of the quality of the presentation. So that, I think, remains for how the industry is able to just work within the constraints of what we're dealing with medically. How close can we get? How are we going to quarantine crew members and actors? SAG, the SAG union has ideas about how to police that, but that's all evolving. I think Evan can probably speak to that more. But also from a creative point of view, I would say that we've all had this opportunity to sit with ourselves and kind of reflect on what we are doing to evolve culture. And I think that will have some impact in the stories that are being written during this period. There's a lot of writers that are still writing for series, writing film scripts. And I think this experience will certainly impact the stories that come out of this period.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, on a sort of light, funny thought, how is anybody gonna passionately kiss each other, or is kissing gonna be forbidden?
Well, it was forbidden years ago. Remember in the silent movies, and it was just a hand that would like drop the tissue or drop the handkerchief on the floor, and that meant so many things. Might be returning to this intimated. I mean, and even in the world, like there's a lot of people that are not in couples, and like how are they going to re-engage in intimacy? Granted the world that we're now living in. But I think we can count on things shifting quickly, within even the next couple of months or weeks. Kissing, I think, will still be a part of culture. Whether it's part of the movies, I don't know. And honestly, from an actor perspective, I don't miss the sex scenes. I don't want to see them.
That's really
Yeah, I know. It's going to be fun actually watching sexless movies for a change. When you have to actually imagine the chemistry. I mean, imagination is so much stronger anyway.
I think it's going to become very sort of sensitive camera work, very sort of sensual. You'll see like leaves blowing in the wind, and that will mean things. Back to the poetry.
Oh yes, I know. Poetry definitely a major part of it. So, Assaf, one of the things that we are really struggling with is, and not only the entertainment industry and the live entertainment industry particularly, but the music industry is now realizing that artists used to make money predominantly from touring and from live performances. And all of a sudden, they are not able to do that because social distancing definitely doesn't work in a major concert. So how do you see that happening? I know that we are doing Akon and Wycliffe and a couple of other people are actually thinking of using Cinema World as a way to put a major concert together. And Shaka Khan actually wants to do Shaka Khan with friends, with all these major other artists. But I don't know how you're not going to have the physical presence of a musical artist being able to perform in a specific location because the fans are craving it. So that's another thing, the distance that the screen delivers still doesn't allow you for that personal connection. How do you think that's going to work?
It's a good question, Daphna. For live shows, I think it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute until people will be able to sit down again in the Staples Center or in big venues. For now, we will have to find ways to entertain the viewers and create concerts online. And again, it takes me again back to cinema world, because what you created is an experience that I can sit in my living room and go to a red carpet or go to a concert or go to the cinema without putting a mask on, without changing my clothes. And I know the virtual world of online concerts and award shows, that's the future. And the amazing thing is that even the older population that usually were afraid of digital and going on Zoom, it took me a minute also to educate my parents how to go on Zoom and where do they look, up, down. They're not afraid to do it. They're not afraid to go into the digital world, to have conversation, to find great content, because we're all at home. Like you mentioned, that CINEMOI went up by what, 1,000, 2,000% in its
almost 2,000%.
It's and you know why? Because people have time to look for great content. We cannot fool the viewers anymore. You are sitting at home and you're looking at hundreds of channels, and now you're in control as the viewer because you're not leaving your home. You're not going to the cinema. You're not going to restaurants. You are picking content that you love and like, and you're looking only for quality content now. And that's what's going to happen. We cannot fool the viewers anymore.
So the power is sent back to the people.
Exactly.
Basically.
Power is back to the people, and they're going to tell you, this is great content, this is a great concert, this is great music, or not.
So COVID went in and took what was reserved before for just the elite, and now brought it back to those millions or billions of people to now dictate where it is they want to go, which makes artists and actors to even be more accredited in their work and more professional, because you know that some people are looking at 100 people and they have to choose you.
Exactly. And also more approachable. Because when you see Lady Gaga performing from home and her dog is running around behind her, this is for me as a viewer is more exciting. It's more exciting because they're letting me into their world for the first time. It's not shiny floors with a lot of hair and makeup and lights. It's different. It's different, and it's exciting.
That's wonderful. And Daphna, as a wrap up, I want to draw a question to the four of you. You guys represent the elite in Hollywood. Daphna, Assaf, Evan, Radha. With the platform that you have, with the power that you have, with so many people looking up to you and all the resources and the infrastructure that you guys have, what is it you guys are doing or are planning to do to address this pandemic? Because when we talk about COVID, everybody talk about healthcare workers, giving the mask. We've been doing that. Clothes masks, we're going to do that. But that's not. Those are just things that are done for us to be able to breathe and get back out there. The real problem is once we're back out there, what is happening? There's so many people out of jobs. That's clear. A lot of people having mental issues. That's a consequence because this is a 3 to 4 months staying home, changing moods, being mad, divorcing. So many things are happening. And kids not going to school, having to adapt to homeschool, or just calling it quit for this year. Hey, Dad, I kept telling you, this thing is not for me. Now COVID is here, I'm not even doing it. So we can talk to 100,000 people. You guys can talk to a billion people. What is it you guys are planning to do?
So it's a very good question, actually, Val, because, for instance, the premiere that I was talking about on June 14th, Woman, we chose this film because it's about unsung women heroes that have gone through terrible realities and have turned their lives around. So they are now helping other women. And it's attracted the leader icons of women from all over the country and all over the world. And the whole idea is when we are launching this premiere on June 14th, we are actually going to use it as a fundraiser, and Apple is joining us, and $1 from each download is going to go towards first responders, up to $1 million, because we now are able to really bring forward millions and millions of people.
Come on, Daphna, you should add Bervann Foundation and Andrea Bocelli Foundation in that.
Well, actually, I wanted to thank Veronica because we already partnered with the Bocelli Foundation, and they actually sponsored our gala in the Cannes Film Festival before. And we were working together, and the idea is that we are going to continue working together. And I love you, Veronica. I love everything you guys are doing. I love your champagne. We served it to everybody and everybody loved it. And beautiful. I can't wait to work with you. And Alexa and I were talking about how the opportunity of cinema world is so vast. And instead of 10 million people, we can have the reach of 200 million people or more. So therefore, with that, Alexa was thinking that impact is crucially important, and that's what we are thinking. The responsibility of the content we put on right now is way beyond just blockbusters. Every single film either has tremendous acclaimed respect, or it's an award-winning film, films that nobody has seen before many times, but they are all conscientious, either literally because they represent visual literature or because they represent a conscientious issue that must be addressed.
That's powerful. That's very powerful. Yeah. And just to hear from Assaf, Evan, and Radha before we wrap it up, really about what do you guys think about my question? Because we're gathering all the insights we can get. We've been so fortunate, like having the Andrea Bocelli coming on board, other celebrities coming on board, helping us put the words out there because we really want to do good. You can see that we mean what we say. We don't just say words. We actually do the work. Like what am I doing with a manufacturing platform in Bangkok out of Thailand? But what can we do? When you talk to the governor, he say, hey, there's no problem. That's what he said in February, we called him. There is no problem. And then in March, they are the same people coming and say, listen, the situation is out of hand. Can you help? So you guys having all those platforms, those resources, how can we work together? What is it you guys have as sacred plan that we don't know about? What is it you guys are doing so that we can, some of the people in the audience can be plugged in? It's a general question, and everybody wants to can respond on his own angle.
Well, I would just say that, you know, it's a new decade. It hasn't started out how we hoped or planned or thought. But I think life is about challenges. And while I don't try to answer your question, I don't know that there's a specific plan that we all have here in Hollywood. But what we are good at is being creative, being entrepreneurial. And, you know, I think that it's an opportunity now to roll up our sleeves and figure out new approaches to some of the same things that we had done kind of over and over throughout the years. So I just feel like it's, you know, shifting gears. And I think we all have to keep a positive perspective more than having like a specific kind of game plan, because obviously a lot of this is uncertain and we don't know how long it'll last. So we have to take it day by day.
And by the way, Evan, you manage celebrities, and just watching Entourage with Ari Gold, they don't care. They just go to the agent. They're like the manager. There is a problem. How do you contain all those elite stars dealing with COVID?
Is definitely an enhanced level of anxiety, which is, you know, normal, and people don't know when their next job is, you know, gonna come. But you know, we're all in it together in a sense. So, you know, we are all hopeful, and we are all looking forward to the day where we can get back to work. And right now we're trying to, you know, it's a you know, cliche term, but think outside the box, you know, just be creative. Think of, you know, how else can we do things in animation? Can we do voiceovers? Can we have our clients doing virtual appearances? So we're just trying to look at every option available within being safe.
Thank you so much, Evan. That's insightful. Looking forward to continue the conversation.
Sure. Thank you.
And I think it's, just to jump in, it's also very important to remember with everything that we do with our Hollywood life, not to forget the people that really, really are the heroes of nowadays. The doctors, the nurses, the scientists. These are the celebrities of 2020. And I think in every show that we'll do, and every live award shows, or every celebration that we'll have to celebrate these people, because these are the people that really matters at the moment. They are my celebrities.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Assaf.
And one more thing, Daphna, can I tell them?
Yes.
Let us in. What's going on?
Daphna has a birthday tomorrow.
Hey, I forgot. That's when tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a Zoom birthday.
Opportunity
Yeah, I remember. She
for the
invited me.
entire world to wish you a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, then.
Thank you, my love.
I think Radha is going to jump in.
I think I think as creatives, you sort of help create conversations, help create stories that sort of, you know, reflect culture. I think, yes, the mythology about celebrity seems very irrelevant at this point, but there are people that have platforms and they do have audiences to speak to. And so if there's opportunity to spread the word, I'm sure anybody with any sense of conscience in Hollywood would take the opportunity to participate. But I think it really comes down to the stories that we are telling ourselves, and how are we going to sit with the uncertainties of life. yeah, how do we show respect where respect is due in the stories that we tell? And personally, the little movie I was just telling you about, this sort of creative project, the message behind that story is just sitting with what you have and appreciating what you have instead of aspiring to things that are sort of, beyond your reality, which seems like a sort of a flat message, but I think it's an important one to have gratitude for what we have. So that, and then also later in the year, I have another movie coming out, it's sort of a medical drama in a way, but it has a very sort of inspirational message that, again, leaves people sort of looking at the mystery of life and appreciating, again, things as they unfold. And I guess even in this situation that we're in, we may look back in 5 years' time and say, wow, things evolved in a positive way and it came out of us having to sit with ourselves. So,
Radha, can we take a moment and appreciate the good side of COVID? Like we so much talked about the downside, the confinement, the quarantine, the death. But the fact that COVID was able to bring us closer than ever, like we have Mrs. Bocelli here, we're interviewing Radha here that otherwise we were watching on TV. We have Evans here, Assaf. And we have Daphna here. Can we take a second just to celebrate how COVID can bring us together, which is one of the amazing things where we can find that at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter how much money I have. That little kid I spoke to from Australia, we got along right away, but he would have never been able to get into my circle.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's definitely, this is a global story. We're all in it together, and we certainly feel that. And the fact that we have the internet, thank God, because we can, like for me personally, I can speak to my parents who are in another country. All that's very stressful for people, but we really do have a sense of a global issue and something that it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from is going to have an impact. And it's obviously it's the little things that matter in these situations. It's the smile to the person on the street, or the wink, or just the things that make the day special. And they're not necessarily big things, they're little moments. And I think we all kind of feel that right now. And also, of course, you can't not mention that we've all seen this sort of environmental recovery, and that, by slowing down, by not flying everywhere, by sitting with ourselves, the environment has an opportunity to sort of recover, and the air is getting cleaner. And hopefully that will inspire the way we move forward, and we won't make unnecessary trips. Hopefully we'll sort of be able to Zoom when we can. But I really hope this doesn't isolate us. And I think we'll continue to look for opportunities to really connect and now have a very global sense of what it is to be a human being.
Radha, Evan, Assaf, my dear Daphna, I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for enlivening us. And we're in New York. You guys are in California. Other people are in Europe, Middle East, Asia, Africa, Australia. The world is together. That's amazing.